Eternity is a 6-star mineral reality DPS. While her damage is by no means top tier, her unique capability makes her an invaluable asset for your account in the early game. She's the only character who can toggle limbo side 1 solo. This means with Eternity on your team, instead of 6 characters, you can focus on 4. Plus, you'll need only 1 healer instead of 2. Today, I'm going to give you a deep look into Eternity's kit, along with 3 ways you can use her, including solo, advanced solo, and as a general DPS. Her kit is quite straightforward. Her Inside 1 has 2 parts. First, it makes her immune to the basic damage over time effect, and it also gives her a stacking buff, amplifying her damage dealt and damage healed by 3% each turn, capping at 15% by the 5th turn. The damage heal here is not lifesteal. Instead, she recoups a percentage of the damage taken at the end of the turn. After Inside 3, the bonus increased by 5% per stack instead of 3, and the cap is raised to 25% from 15%. She also additionally gained immunity to status down. If you ever wonder if a debuff is classified as negative status, status down, or control, you can check it in the character detail during combat. Now let's look at her skills. Her Self-Vigor is a single target move that deals moderate amount of damage and inflict 1 turn Nasty Wound. Nasty Wound is a 50% heal reduction. It's potent too against specific foes, but generally not very useful in most stages. Antique Fan is a dual target AoE attack whose damage surprisingly rivals that of the single target skill. Both of the skills consume 10% of her current HP, making her seemingly riskier to play. However, the reason she can be played solo outside of the tankiness from her insight is due to her ultimate. Her ultimate deals 300 reality damage to all enemies and has 50% leech rate. With 2 to 3 targets, she can comfortably heal back to full every time she uses her ultimate. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there are really 3 ways to play Eternity: solo, advanced solo, and as a normal DPS. Playing her solo is very easy. There are really only 3 rules you need to follow. 1. Whenever you're using her skill, your priority is always to cause auto-merger. Try to use the card that can trigger auto-merging in order to generate additional moxie so she can use her ultimate more often. 2. Try to keep the high-level skill on the right side. This will make auto-merging more likely to happen, which again will allow her to use her ultimate more often. And 3. If you ever get into awkward rotation which prevents you from generating the extra moxie, you can use the toning skill to refresh or boost the skill to tier 2 in order to trigger 1 additional auto-merge. While her ultimate is by no means the most powerful skill she has compared to her skill at higher tier, it is her lifeline of soloing content. If there is too large of a gap between her ultimates, she will end up dying. When you're playing her solo, you will sometimes run into the issue of being unable to clear content fast enough. For the majority of the skill in this game, if not all of them, you will do more damage by using 3 tier 1 skill rather than using 1 tier 3. Her skill damage is already not the highest, and missing out on 2 action points per round make it even worse. There are also stages where she dies too quickly before she can use her ultimate, thus making it absolutely unsoloable. To deal with stage like this, you will have to use her advanced solo setup. Rest assured, it's not as complicated as it sounds. Simply take 2 support with you, ideally more tanky ones, and, if possible, one that can boost Eternity's damage output via their skill or insight. You can comfortably bring Inside 1 unit into this team. They're really only here to give her more action points, thus more damage, or, for stages where she has trouble surviving, they will give her time to ramp up her passive to full. During combat, there are 3 things to think about. Always prioritize Eternity's skill, but you can use support buffing or debuffing skill to amplify her damage. When there is only 1 Eternity skill on the deck, you should reroll the skill to make sure Eternity will be able to act at least twice per round, and it's okay for the supports to die. Do not waste too many actions to keep them alive. That's counterintuitive. Of course, you can solo everything with Eternity. When using Eternity solo or in her advanced solo team, you may struggle against single target bosses. Not only is her single target damage kind of lackluster, she also won't be able to heal enough for her ultimate against single targets. In those scenarios, if you don't have a better choice for DPS, consider using her in a regular team. For this, you will simply treat her as a regular DPS, with supports who can support reality damage, and a healer who can keep the support alive. Playing her this way will actually have the highest DPS amongst the 3 playstyles, assuming you brought a proper sub DPS. Additionally, when you are playing her as a regular DPS, you must watch her HP. If her HP is too low, whether from her skill consume HP or from enemies' attacks, consider moving her skill around to generate more moxie in order to use her ultimate. For Psychubes, it's actually quite simple. If you're playing her solo or advanced solo, Brave New World is the best pick, as she should be using her ultimate quite often, preferably every 2 to 3 turns, which consistently trigger the passive. When using as a regular DPS, Hopscotch will bring more consistency against the majority of the stages. For Resonance, you want to prioritize more damage than survivability. Her survivability greatly rely on how much damage she can do with her ultimate. And for those who don't feel like playing puzzles, here are examples for Resonate layout from Resonate 7 to Resonate 10. Overall, Eternity is a one-of-a-kind unit to clear the majority of the content with. By getting her early, you will be able to focus your limited number of resources into less characters, thus pushing your progression faster. She's extremely good against many contents where survivability can feel like an issue in the early game, and is great against stages with a lot of mob enemies. She suffers against stages with only a single target due to her skills draining her own health, and stages where enemy can lock her down because she is only immune to status down. The good thing is, those stages are not common until Chapter 5, which is patch 1.4, so it's not a big deal right now. I hope this video helped you understand Eternity better, and by using her effectively, you should find success in progressing the early game using her alone as one of your two teams. This has been Steamban X, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.